Hello America, I'm John Doe with NBC News. Our top story tonight, the United States has engaged the Japanese Navy in a major 3-day battle over a remote U.S. naval and air base at Midway Island. The tiny island, only 1,000 miles northwest of Hawaii, was targeted as a potential launching pad for the Japanese advance towards the west coast. The Japanese attacked in the early hours on Thursday, with heavy air raids on the military base. Even with this shocking news from our front lines, it seems that it could spell great opportunity for our Navy in a counterattack. We have here in the studio today Admiral Frank Fletcher. How did we end up fighting offensively in the battle?
Well, as soon as our recon plane found the enemy fleet, we used that information to then administer a counterstrike to their forces.
So why did you not hold off on the counterstrike?
It was a time management thing. We had to hit them as soon as we found out where they were, so they could not do any more damage to our forces at Midway or our carriers.
And now we cut to our NBC News agent in the field.
The Battle of Midway began early morning hours on Thursday. 109 Japanese planes were recorded as attempting to stage a sneak attack on the United States naval base at Midway Island. Because loose lips sink ships, we at NBC News will not divulge how the United States knew about the attack, but just know that they were ready. Tojo sent his best pilots and ships to take our base for 3 main reasons. 1. It would be a good place to launch an attack force on American soil. 2. It would solidify his evil grasp on the Pacific Ocean. 3. It would create a barrier around the Japanese homeland to protect against Allied invasion. The navies of both nations clashed around 4:30 a.m. with a dogfight taking place around the island, then followed by bombing runs on the airstrip of Midway. Japanese had exactly 4 carriers, 7 battleships, 150 support ships, an estimated 248 aircraft, and an estimated 15 subs. The United States had 3 aircraft carriers, 0 battleships, 50 support ships, 360 aircraft, and here at NBC News, we're not going to divulge how much subs we had. We spoke to this man about his experience in the early part of the battle.
It was June 4th, my birthday, when the Japanese came by plane. There were around 6 to 7 planes dropping bombs and strafing while I was suiting up for battle. We ran from our building to our station of Browning. Our sergeant instructed our team into downing 0 after 0, and so we did. However, this did not last long because our CO took a round to the neck, killing him instantly. I had to take over after our loss. I held this position for 2 days before a medical condition impaired my abilities to command my unit effectively.
How long does training last for an infantryman?
So training for an infantryman is called OSUT, which stands for one station unit training, and this training usually takes up to 14 weeks.
On average, how many planes do you think you and your unit have shot down?
Well, in my experience, I have found shooting planes to be quite difficult. So in a group total, we've probably shot around 16 planes. However, individually, I have most likely shot around 2 or 3.
Why did you want to become an infantryman?
Well, as an American citizen, I felt as it was my duty to fight for our country.
As an infantryman, what weapons did you use to shoot down those Zeros?
So our main weapon was called the Browning M2HB, and this was a water cooling gun.
After the island was hit hard, our recon planes spotted the rest of the Japanese fleet. It was a 2-to-1 battle, not in our favor, but our admiral steered our boys in the right direction. At 7:52 a.m., the USS Enterprise and the USS Hornet launched bombers and torpedo planes to attack the Japanese fleet. We spoke to a dive bomber to hear what he had to say about this operation. What plane were you in?
I flew a F-4F Wildcat fighter plane.
And what was it like in the cockpit?
It's a relatively small cockpit. You're really buckled in. Nothing moves except when you're being jittered around in combat. Everything gets crazy.
Do you have any experience with this before?
Outside of training school, not much. This was my first action that I saw in the Pacific Theater.
How many planes did you shoot down?
During the Battle of Midway, I shot down 5 enemy Zero fighters as well as a float plane from one of the Japanese support vessels.
Did you think that the Japanese technology was superior to the United States?
The Japanese technology, their planes are very, they're much faster than ours. That's the main advantage that they have. Our fighter planes, for the most part, have better armor, but lack maneuverability as well as speed, and that's where they catch us.
What do you think triggered you to fly as well as you did?
Mostly the adrenaline rush. I had never been in combat prior, but as soon as I was getting shot, my wingman called me over the radio, and it just clicked for me. And I was surprised myself how well I did, but I did what I had to save myself as well as my fellow flyers.
Did you lose anybody important in the battle?
I did lose my wingman. He attempted to come in and take a Zero that was tailing me pretty hard, and he got shot down in the process. He was later found to be killed in action, but yes, that did hit home relatively hard. Sir, duty calls. Gotta leave.
At 8:37 a.m., aircraft from the second wave of Japanese fighters began to return home to the 4 carriers where they could refuel and rearm, which made it perfect to strike then and there. When our dive bombers arrived, the Japanese had no planes to defend themselves. At 9 a.m., the USS Yorktown launched an attack on a Japanese carrier force as a main target. It split away from the Protectorate force and joined the offensive force. At 9:30 a.m., the first wave of torpedo planes and dive bombers began their attack on the Japanese fleet. At 10 a.m., the first wave of torpedo planes were all shot down, leaving no known survivors. However, U.S. dive bombers were able to start several fires, which led to the deaths of at least 2 carriers. At 11 a.m., Sagu and Aki are all struck with U.S. bombs and visit the bottom of the ocean. At noon, Hairu launched a counterattack on the USS Yorktown. The USS Yorktown is badly damaged, but it doesn't sink. At 3 p.m., the crew of the USS Yorktown abandoned ship. However, the ship does not sink for another 72 hours, leading many Japanese airmen to incorrectly perceive that it is still afloat and still functioning, causing many to waste bombs and torpedoes on an empty ship. June 6th, the USS Yorktown finally is sunk, and the Japanese retreat with tails between their legs. This has been a huge victory for the United States Navy. Even in our battered state after the events of Pearl Harbor, we are still able to kick the pants of those Jap fascists. Go.
How did we end up fighting a fist?
Go! Okay, oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about something else. Trip.
Like this?
Yeah. Trip. keep going. Take two, go back and do it again. Do it again.
10 out of 10.
Oh my god.
Pass me a band.
Did you actually cut yourself?
You gotta actually.
Give him the band-aids. Okay, do it again. Now try and use your chopsticks. Keep it in your body. Now just do a variety of it. You have to eat it so freaking weird. Now just scarf it down. Go as fast as you can. Scarf it down. Just eat it as fast as you can. Go, eat it. No, use the spoon. Use the spoon. No. Just, oh god. Oh. Look regular. Disgusted. Shoot it. Now, come on. You have to do it like you did before. Nothing. Then grossed out. Now squirt.
Oh.
Keep squirting. Keep going. No, keep...
I can't take. It's in my nose.
No, yell at the sky.
So when it starts shooting, it'll stop once it starts flying away.
Okay, that definition was just awful. Sorry.
I know it was.
Because the first time he gave me the script,
Into
I know the first time he said
one
it.
word.
The first time he gave me
Okay.
the script,
Okay.
he said,
Start from the beginning.
You guys have the most strenuous smiles on your faces when you're coming into this.
They're cringeworthy. You have your badges that want to be in the shot, yeah? Well, then you're good. That's what we want to see.
That is gonna look really weird on the bloopers.
Don't, yeah. I'll have this on a loop. Well, then you're